Welcome back. This is Miss Faye, and this is my world. Today's topic is, should you sign a prenup? Should you sign a prenup? Before we get started, I want to say welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to all of the new viewers, all of the new subscribers, and welcome to you who have been with me from the beginning. I really appreciate you. Now, those of you who are new to the channel, I will answer your relationship questions. So at the end of the video, I'll show you a link where you can send in your questions, and I will either answer them privately through the email, or I will share them online with the collective, and it can be your decision. Now, those of you who are interested in these caps, they are available in my online store, and you find a link in the description. Now it's time for today's affirmation, and we do these affirmations to help with our spiritual growth. And here it is. I see magic and beauty all around me. The more I look for it, the more I see. Let this sink in. I see magic and beauty all around me. Think positive and you'll see positive. The more I look for it, the more I see. It's magic in the air. It's magic everywhere. If you believe and you have faith, I see magic and beauty all around me. The more I look for it, the more I see. People, let this affirmation sink deep into your spirit and be a blessing to you today. Now it's time for movement, and we do these movements to get our blood circulating. Now today's movement, we're going to do a simple arm movement. And we're going to take this arm again and just stretch it out. Just stretch it out like that. And do it for 5 times. And then we're going to do the other arm. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2. Stretch it out. 3, 4. And 1 more. 5. All right? Now let's do the other side. 1. Stretch it out. 2. That's right. 3. Come on. 4. And 1 more. 5. You know, I felt that in both arms. What about you? Move your body just a little bit every day. It's so important to your physical, your mental, and your spiritual health. Now let's dive into this message today. Should you sign a prenup? I did pull a video and we have a letter. Let's watch the short video. We read this letter and talk about this issue. Here we go.
You still think that getting a prenup has anything to do with a lack of trust in your partner?
It absolutely does. Kudos to the girl in law school. That's amazing. However, I want to look at this from a different perspective. If it wasn't due to trust in the man thinking you're going to take 50% of everything he owns, then what is it about? You can write your own prenup that says, okay, if we're worried about the government, we can do 50-50 in case of a divorce.
Have a prenup?
Absolutely. Do you have one yourself? Or
I do.
Okay. So let me tell you what it did for us. I like where we have your money, my money, our money. She says, I want to buy that new Chanel purse. How much, babe? $12,000. You want to buy that Chanel purse? Buy it with your money. If I want to buy that purse for you, I'll buy it with my money. So you know I bought it with my money. If we have something that we're doing for our kids and ourselves, which is us, Team Us, this is our money. I noticed that minimize arguments to the point where no one's being judged.
If you insist on a prenup, that means that you have one foot out of the door at the very beginning of the relationship. You're not actually committed and you're waiting for this relationship to fail. How many times have you heard an opinion like this? Absolutely, it's a little bit scary to think about planning for a separation at a time that you want to celebrate your love. But the reality is, asking someone to negotiate a prenuptial agreement, which can include either a cohabitation agreement if you're going to be common law and just living together, or a marriage contract if you do intend to get married legally. As long as you're not, surprising your partner and not giving them an opportunity to adequately negotiate with you, doing this at the beginning of the relationship when you both actually care for each other, that's when you're more likely to treat each other fairly, as opposed to at the end of a relationship when people have hurt feelings and let those feelings get in the way of a fair and proper resolution of the outstanding issues. So, getting a prenuptial agreement at the beginning of a relationship is actually a sign of love. And if you see that your partner is trying to negotiate an agreement that's not fair for you, that tells you a lot that you need to know at the very beginning of the relationship. So keep your head out of the sand and don't be afraid of prenups.
Okay, let's read this letter. I was informed that a man that is interested in me, a formal mate, signed a proposed prenup. He is leaving his house and other assets to his children. I have my own assets that I would like to protect as well. He has more than I do financially. All right, you're off to a good start. At least it sounds like you're dating up. A prenup, I feel, could be a deal breaker. Should we get to that level? Also, I do not want to move into his house. He should purchase us a new house. I have a condo that I would keep as passive income in the event we do get married. Should I get a prenup? And if so, is it fair game if he presents one to me? Okay, let's look at this topic because for those of you who are wanting to get married, you may be presented with a prenup. And what do you think about that? Now, I pulled some information about prenups, and let's just go over this information, and then I'm going to tell you what I think about it. There is some wisdom in the approach of a prenup. A prenup is planning for the success of a marriage rather than the failure. People are also more likely to succeed because they are taking an intentional mindset to their relationship. A mindset that doesn't just assume that a successful marriage happens by accident or luck. When a couple promises in their wedding day to love, for better or worse, for richer or for poor, in sickness and in health, it's really only theoretical for most of them because they're only really known for the better times. It's impossible to grasp the reality of what those worst times might be like. And most couples don't really believe that that will happen to them. A prenuptial agreement is a practical way for couples to plan for the inevitable, for worse times in the future. It facilitates an important discussion about their promise to weather the storms of life together and helps them articulate how they will support each other. It motivates them to avoid complacency and to instead be proactive in seeking to learn better ways of doing things as a couple. Personally, I believe prenup is a good idea. It's a good idea, whether you own property yourself or whether you don't. All right? And I'm going to tell you why I think it's a good idea. Because women, you need protection. Many times when the marriages break up, it's the women that suffer because they have relied too much on their husbands for their support. So when the marriage breaks up, the husband takes that support and goes on and leaves you holding the bag a lot of times. For those of you who don't have a prenup and you live in a state where property is divided in half, these are the states where many times people want a prenup. There are some states, everything that you have before the marriage is yours, and you may want to put that in a prenup. All right, so it'll be legally on the paper. In your prenup, you want to write down everything that you have right now before you enter into this contract of marriage. It's a contract. It's a legal contract. Look at it like that. All right? Don't be deceived. You want to protect yourself and protect your assets. I believe a prenup is a good thing. Ladies, you need a prenup when you go into these situations. Now, if you are young, both of you don't have anything, you see, and I'm talking about you get married like in your 20s, early 30s. You both are just starting out. You're on an equal basis. All right? You don't have anything. You don't have any property. You don't own anything. You don't need a prenup. Okay? You get married, whatever you accumulate is going to be divided in half if you decide to divorce. Okay? Now, suppose he has something. Suppose he owns his own home. And suppose you own your home and you're thinking about getting married. Now, if he is of a certain age, after 50, he might not want to buy another house for you to live in. He may suggest that you move in to his home if he has the bigger home. Okay? And he wants you to sign a prenup. Ladies, don't look at that like that's a bad thing at all, because you want a prenup too. Somehow you need to come together with this prenup, because in his prenup, it's about protecting him and his property. You need your prenup to protect you and your property. All right, now, the legal team can merge these prenups together. I don't know how. I'm not legal, but I do know that you need to protect yourself. Don't just sign off on his prenup. Number one, we're not legal. And in prenups, there's some legal language in there that you might not understand. So you need a legal professional to look at it to protect your interests. Don't just sign off. And I remember this older man decided to marry this woman, and she pops up with a prenup a week before the wedding. If anybody does you like that, walk away. It's a trick. It's a trap. If anybody waits till a week before your nuptials to shoot you a prenup, call it off. It's a trick. It's something in that prenup that they're trying to force you to sign, and you'll be in a trap. Don't do it. Prenups should be discussed openly together. Sit down and decide how you want this to read. Now, ladies, if he is more financially established than you, his prenup is going to guard whatever he has. But don't you go in there and just sign it because you feel like you're going to reap the rewards of what he has while you're there. And then if it breaks up, guess what? You may be sent off packing with whatever you came there with. But you spent all this time with him in the marriage, helping to support him, to take care of him, to be there for him. That's worth something, ladies. Your time and energy is worth a lot. And it should be in the prenup that every year that you are with him, that you are being paid this certain amount for your time to be with him. So you don't walk away from a marriage with nothing. You're going to get compensated for the time and energy that you put in that marriage. Now, I also believe, even with the prenup should read, protect him for what he has going into the marriage. Not after you have gotten married. Everything that is accumulated between the two of you after the marriage should be split in half if the marriage breaks up. So you should have half of whatever income or whatever happens during the marriage. Ladies, don't be suckered in. You know, a lot of us, when we hear the word prenup, we automatically say, no, I'm not going to sign no prenup. But the prenup can be good for you. It can protect you. Get your mind around this. You go into a marriage. If you both don't have anything, all right, you don't need a prenup. But if somebody has something, you need a prenup because you want to protect what you have. And if this person has children, has been married before, or whatever, that has nothing to do with you and the prenup. You still want yours. So you protect what you have going into the marriage. That's what the prenup should lock down. What you have going into the marriage is yours if the marriage breaks up. All right, now follow me. But everything that's accumulated during the marriage should be split in half if the marriage breaks up. That's what I believe. And in the prenup, it should be stated that way, ladies, so that you're not the loser if it falls apart. You see, the prenup does not set your relationship up for failure. It's a sensible thing to do to protect yourself. These marriages are contracts. They are contracts and legal contracts. If your marriage fails, which a lot of them do, too many of them do, and that's why the prenup is a big deal today, because too many marriages are not working out. But then women tend to be the loser when they sign these prenups. Now, this man, this older man, when this sly woman slid that prenup to him a week before the marriage, this is an older man. He didn't even know how to read a prenup. You see, it was a trick. It was a trap. And so when he got other people to look at it, now it's just a week before, he's still wanting to get married. You understand? But he's not understanding the ramifications in this prenup. That's why I say, if anybody that you are considering to marry slides you a prenup a week or two before the marriage, reject it. Reject it. And, you know, even if you have to put the marriage off, it's better to do it that way until you can come to some agreement about a prenup. The prenup really should be discussed once you have accepted a proposal. Not when you've already spent all of your money preparing for the wedding. People are putting thousands and thousands of dollars into a wedding. So if somebody slips you a prenup a week before the wedding, now you're going to feel pressured to go along with it because the wedding is right there. And he's saying, if you don't sign the prenup, then I'm not going to marry you. You see, that's pressure. That's a trick. Walk away from it. Say, well, we won't get married. And walk away from it. Ladies, don't put yourself in a position to be so desperate to marry a man that you just sign these blind prenups. Don't do it. Don't do it. If that prenup does not state that whatever you have right now is yours and that you will Be compensated for all of the time that you spend with him. Now, if it's in the prenup that everything that you accumulate during the marriage should be split in half, if you decide to divorce, I think that's a good thing. Or that he compensates you for every year that you spent with him in the prenup. Ladies, this is a way to protect yourself. Don't just allow a man to take advantage of you again in the prenup. Taking advantage. And, I'm talking to the women, but the story, like I told you, it was a woman that did this to a man. It's wrong either way. It's the wrong thing to do. A prenup is to protect you. But you need to look at it like that. If you own anything and you're deciding to get married, you need a prenup. Okay? So don't be fooled by that. Don't go into a marriage thinking or fooling yourself that it's going to be blissful and you two are going to live together forever and ever. I know what you say in your marriage vows, but you only say these marriage vows because you have been taught, or these marriage vows have been presented to you, and everybody says the same vows over and over and over, even if they've been married 5 times or more. It's the same vows. For better or for worse, for richer or for poor, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't mean anything. When things go bad in a marriage and the marriage breaks up, it can get bad. It can get sour. It can get hateful. But if you have an ironclad prenup, you know you're going to be financially taken care of no matter what happens in the marriage. And that's what you want. You don't want to go into a marriage hoping that the man is going to care for you and take care of you. And even if the marriage breaks up, you're still going to be okay. Don't marry these people with blindfolds on, ladies. Protect yourself. Always. And I hope that you understand this message today. And I really hope that it helps you. A prenup is a good thing, ladies. It's a very good thing. And like she said in the letter, that she plans to keep her place, that's very smart. I would never get rid of my place to marry a man. And moving into his place can be fine if you feel like you would be happy there. But I wouldn't get rid of my place. You see, if he doesn't want to buy another place, and if he's a certain age and he's put a lot of money into his place, he might not want to, go buy another place for you to live in. He may want you to move in with him. And if that is conducive to you and agreeable to you, and you want to move into his place, fine. But just still make sure that you are protected with a prenup. With a prenup. Because the prenup is for you. Not just to protect him. It's to protect you too, ladies. You need to understand this. This works both ways. Many of us, we get frightened when we meet somebody that has a whole lot. He is financially secure. He's financially stable. He has his finances in order. And we want to hook up with him, see, so that we can be in order. That's fine. But now he's going to shoot you this prenup. Now you're afraid. Now you're scared. I signed this prenup. If it breaks up or he decides he doesn't want me anymore, I'm going to walk away with nothing. Not necessarily. Not if you were smart. If you were smart, you won't walk away with nothing. No matter what his prenup says, you need your prenup. All right? And somewhere along the line, these prenups have to come together. or I would not marry him. I wouldn't marry him if the prenup was not agreeable to me and I have time to go over it. Not no week before the marriage. Oh, 2 weeks before the marriage, here you come. No. You can forget it then. I'll call the whole thing off. Don't be afraid, ladies. Don't be so desperate to hook up with these men. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what he has, where he come from, what his status is, or anything. Don't sell yourself short. Make sure that you are good in any situation that you go in. Make sure that you're going to come out of it okay. And in financial tact, you can protect your finances a lot better than you can protect your heart. You see, if your situation breaks up, you can be heartbroken, but you don't necessarily have to be broke. Protect yourself, ladies. Know that the prenup can work for you. That's the message. I hope that this message helps someone. And I hope that you ladies understand it. Work with a prenup. If you own anything, do not marry anybody without a prenup. Now, those of you who have questions that you would like for me to answer, here's the link. Send your questions to Miss Faye's World, YT@hotmail.com. That's Miss Faye's World, YT@hotmail.com. And try to keep your letters to one page. Just summarize the situation and ask the question. And if you prefer that I answer your question privately through the email, just put it at the very top of your letter and I will comply. I want to thank you so much for your comments and your letters, and a special thank you to those that leave a donation. I really appreciate all of you. I wish you all the very best, and I really hope to see you next time.